Welcome to the Comedy's Best Kept Secret Tour podcast. I'm here with Ryan Roman.
Hello, sir. How's it going?
It's going good, man. So here's what happened. Legitimately, we were on our way to go handle some business for another event. It was an open audition process, and I had an RSVP online. A record low number of people RSVP'd, which is fine. We actually have a full contest up till this point, but basically we were going to go to Albany, and we said, no, we're not. So now we're in my living room doing the Comedy's Best Kept Secret Tour podcast because I promised him we would do one in the car on the way up. So this is Ryan Roman, who is the official or unofficial intern, I guess,
I put it on my resume.
of
so
comedy
it's official
productions and Hoboken Comedy Festival. Here's a dude who came up to me. I can't even remember how he reached out to me. Probably on Facebook or email me,
website,
and basically was like, "Yo, I'm not asking for anything. I just want to help out. Is that cool?" And up till that point, I don't think he'd really been doing comedy much, and I had him come and help out. And it's what now, 2 years?
It's been a year.
But you did last year's festival, right?
No, I didn't perform.
But you helped out last year's festival.
And that was like when I started. Like I started writing at 16, but when I started performing was after that festival because I realized I wasn't shit.
Yeah. Oh, you saw people performing and you were like, oh. Plus, to be fair, and this is not easy for anybody, especially because you said you're 19 now.
Yeah.
It's not easy for anybody, but like we had you like introduce the comics one year, and you got like stage fright on like the intro shit. So I was like, all right, he needs a second. But dude, you fucking rocked it this year. Like first night, Monday night, right straight out the gate. You like won that night, which is crazy.
Yeah, it was fun. I'm glad I didn't ask to be put on stage.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready at all.
It's weird. It is weird because I haven't had anybody like you try to be in that position before. And this is how I was. Like I met when I first decided I wanted to do comedy. I talked my way into this club in Syracuse. I said, listen, I'm not 21. I'm not supposed to be here, but you got this club, and this is, I think, what I want to do. I'd be happy to pay to drink for a couple sodas, whatever. I'm not here to fuck around. I'm here to drink. I just want to see the show. God lets me in. I hang out there the entire summer. I go to every show for that entire summer. They had Wednesday through Sunday, and he pulled me aside and said, "Listen, you don't have to pay a cover. You get to come here now. You're my son now." So I was there every weekend, the entire summer. And then at the end of the summer, I was like, "Listen, man, I'm about to leave for like 6 months. I'm going to London. I got this thing I've been working on." He's like, "I want to see it. When can I see it?" And I said, "Give me 3 weeks." And he did, and I went up. So I guess I asked eventually, but it was that same vibe of just chilling and
as you build bonds. I
learning.
like building bonds with people because it's just way more interesting than asking a person for something and then going separate ways. A lot of people.
I've seen a lot of people enter this business in a lot of ways, and this was a good way. I saw somebody once, this girl just become friends with everybody.
Yeah.
Act like she wasn't trying to be a comedian, and then like a year and a half, 2 years in, after she already knew everybody. And the thing is, when comedians see other comedians like trying to get in, we like, I don't know why we try to stop them. Right?
So yeah, like mentally, I'm like, I see someone like when like friends of mine tell me they want to be comics.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't know if it's your thing, but maybe.
I don't know if this is for you, bro. But so we try to stop them. So this girl like infiltrated the entire industry by being like good friends with everybody, and then like a year and a half in, she acted like we tried to push her into it. Because like people were like, "Oh, you should do it. You're fun. You're funny."
Yeah.
And so she acted, and then I looked back after like 2 years, 3 years of this thing, and I was like, "Oh, this girl's fucking brilliant." Rather than like struggle and go to open mics and like have to try to make friends and figure it out, she just went to shows as an audience member for like a year and a half, and then was already endeared to the market, which is great.
That's a smart way to go about it. It's a fear of mine because usually I don't like building bonds with comics without them seeing me perform first.
Interesting.
Oh, because when I met you, I wasn't a comic, really.
Right.
I wanted to see the shows.
Yeah.
And I didn't know there was a festival. I wanted to see the festival.
Yeah.
But now it comes to the point where I'm afraid to become friends with comics who haven't seen me perform in case they don't like my performance.
Oh.
Because you can like somebody but not like them.
That's interesting. But I think we separate it, though. I do. I'm in a weird position because I'm now I've put myself in a position of, I don't want to say authority, but I have some stake in the game for a lot of people because I
Yeah.
run the Hoboken Comedy Festival, I run Make Me Laugh, and I run the Comedy's Best Kept Secret Tour. So I can put people on stage, at the tune of like 200 shows a year. So it's an interesting place to be because it does put me in this weird spot. But I try really hard not to be the one directly watching videos, directly judging things, because I don't think that's fair, and I don't want my personal stuff to get into it. Because one of the things you learn in comedy is that people will only watch you like once every 5 years.
Yeah.
So people will watch you, probably whoever was with you at the Hoboken Conference, watch your set. They're not gonna try and see your set again
Yeah.
for like another 5 years. So I think we all have this, like, in our heads, everybody that I know in comedy that's been in it for 10 years or whatever, in my head I have this,
Yeah.
set idea of where they're at, and they're way past that now. Like, they're way better now. But
Mhm.
until I accidentally see them, or like they're going before me, I'm not gonna like go out of my way to see their set. So
It's like you hang around a group. For me, it's like if you hang around a group of kids at your table,
mhm.
and then there's always that one kid that leaves, and then all of you guys kind of like shit on that kid.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I don't want to be that kid that's
You don't
like,
want to get shit on.
yeah, I don't want to be shitted on when people they're like, oh, Ryan, yeah, he's cool, he's our boy, but man, he fucking sucks.
He ain't shit. Well, that's something that should and could make you just strive harder to be better every time.
Yeah.
So use that shit. But what else? I don't know that that's happening. I don't know. I really don't think comedians. That's a lie. I was gonna say I really don't think comedians judge like that, but we really do.
I feel like it's like based on the set. Like if you don't really like the set, you're not really gonna hang out with that person ever.
Yeah, I don't know. It's tough because I have people. I'm trying to think of people that I hang with that I also care about their comedy. I think what happens is eventually you care about that person beyond their comedy, and then if they're not where you think they could be, because you've been hanging out with them, and so there's obviously something fun about hanging out with them, then you might start slowly kind of like working with them on the notion that, like, trying to brainstorm. You're like, listen, that bit that you got about
I
whatever,
see.
like, like, what if, or like, should it keep going, or, so it becomes that kind of thing. So, because I've seen whole chunks of people, comedians, become a crew, and then the whole crew tends to get better. Sometimes there's like a guy who's just better, and there's a guy who's not getting any better and kind of staying low or whatever. But generally, there's like just that, I don't know, something about having the crew of people gives them confidence to get better, because it's like that's the hardest part. Is like is needing the acceptance from the audience. And so if half the audience is your boys who are you're running the show with,
That makes it easier, yeah.
then you can just fuck off and like really get to the root of what who you really want to be.
But that also could backfire, where it turns into, I forget who said it. I don't know if it was Chris Rock. Somebody said, like, he sees groups of comedians hanging out and then always going out together, but they're not getting better because they're not spending enough time alone.
Yeah, you could be a bunch. Yeah, you could be in a bunch of ain't shit people hanging out. That's what we find, and this is an interesting thing. And me and Andrew Frank and now Adam Gable and some of these other guys that I've traveled the country with, we'll go to a market. We'll try to do Make Me Laugh in one of these markets that doesn't have a huge comedy community. And sometimes you go to a market where there's like no cream rising to the top, so then the level for how funny you have to be is set lower. We're in New York, so we don't have that problem.
Oh, it's like
the
basketball,
fucking
yeah.
best people. Yeah. So yes, exactly. So it's like if you're not playing in Summer League in DC
Yeah.
on the East Coast, you ain't shit.
Yep.
I mean, you go play in Florida, you're dunking on people, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. That's exactly what it's like. So you need to be in the room where Carmelo is. You need to be in the room where LeBron is just fucking leaping over people for you to understand the level that you need to rise to. Like, New York makes you like going to the cellar makes you pissed off. Like God damn it! How did he do that?
Oh yeah, first time I went was the Chappelle dropping show.
Yeah.
An amazing fucking show.
Yeah.
Even if he didn't show up, it's still
It's
an
still a
amazing
monster show. Yeah.
And I remember like just being in awe of it.
Yeah.
Because I've seen comedy. I've seen great comedy.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen it like that.
Yeah, it's another level. It really is another level. Chappelle is another level. I don't know how to explain this to people. You just need to go and see it. That's how I feel about my boy Andrew Schultz, man. I love this kid. He's one of my favorites. Me and him worked a lot of things together. And I'll go, and we've always had a very similar mindset. He might skew a little harder in a particular direction, but we've always kind of had the same mindset on a lot of things. So a lot of times I'll go and see him and his setup on a joke, and I'm like, God damn it. I was like, this is fucking brilliant. And then where he takes it and the level that he's able to achieve with this joke is just...
He's a master of rhetoric.
He's really unbelievable. And then he's figured out what the persona needs to be to play off. So honestly, one of his trademarks is he'll kind of find something that is agreed upon, like a universal truth in a way, or like a something that's controversial, and he'll take the side you're not supposed to take, and that's where he starts from for comedy a lot of ways. So he really prides himself on kind of proving the opposite of what should be true.
And that's what we have to. I feel like that's what we should be doing as people. Just to see both sides.
I definitely agree with that. That's my bit about dating somebody who voted for Trump. You know, is this idea that we need to be getting out there and sharing these ideas. I tried to see this girl a couple right after the election, and on the date I had to keep reminding her that I didn't vote for Trump because I was playing devil's advocate, and she kept getting upset.
My gosh.
She was getting visibly angry. Like she wanted to slap me, and I was like, "Look, what if?" And she just kept, and I had to keep being like, "Just by the way, I did not vote for Trump." But what if? And she was just getting pissed. And basically her perspective was that if you voted for Trump, you can't even speak to me.
That's
crazy.
That's where we're like at as a country. Is where we hear something we don't want to hear, and we automatically just want to punch people in the face.
Right, dude. Well, this is funny because my family, I was raised in a house of very, very short fuses. Now, I was never in the power position on this. Because it was mom, dad, and my older sister. So I was never in the position where I could adopt that philosophy and succeed. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna beat up my dad. You know what I mean? You can't hit your mom. And then my older sister just always had the drop on me, and so it's just interesting because basically, I have two younger siblings, but the position I was put in for a while was to just kind of like see this. So now, even looking back, I see that my family my father still has that kind of mentality. My mom still does. My sister still does. So it's just fun now to look back and watch that because it is. Me and my father got in an argument about The Big Short.
Yeah.
And I can't understand his perspective from the standpoint that he's arguing for the thing that actually ended up screwing him over. Yeah, I mean, so my father, was just a regular middle class dude, was doing fine, started making some money, and then kind of hit some career plateaus, and then he purchased a house in the mid '90s, and with the anticipation that it was going to appreciate, and if the market held the way it looked like it was going to, then the house would have been worth double or triple in 25 years when the mortgage was up from what it was. Instead, it was worth 1.5 times after 25 years of paying for it, which was kind of upsetting. And he had refinanced a couple times, so I don't know where he ended up, if he ended up upside down in the house or not. But either way, he got screwed by the circumstances
the bankers,
of what this movie is about, right?
Yeah, I saw it. It was a very interesting topic to cover out because I didn't understand what happened.
Yeah,
all I knew it was the recession,
and it does a really good job. And it was not, it wasn't about a recession. It was about you know what it was about, right?
Yeah,
it was about a lot of bad paper.
Yeah, like what was it? What's the word? Where people they would give subprime mortgages.
Yeah, subprime mortgages. So there was people, and there was confidence in things that were garbage.
Yeah, just giving out shit just to give out shit. Because like the more shit you gave out, the more money you made.
Yeah, well, this is the same conversation I'm having with him now about Bitcoin. Is he doesn't see the point, and he's arguing. So my point is that me and my father put hands on each other over Christmas, kind of about The Big Short. Like that's how serious it got. So it was just interesting. I was in the defensive, but then I also I was in a position where I'm 34 years old, and it's just like, you can't put hands on me now.
Yeah, that's a weird.
You know what I mean? Like I know you thought you could fight me, as a child, and so that stopped everything, and you're my point of authority. I'm 34 now, I can fight you.
I don't know if
You know what I
that'll
mean?
fly in a Puerto Rican household. I feel like all the adults would just gang
What's I'm
up.
saying? It's an Italian also too, but so it's the same thing. So there was nobody else. There was nobody else involved. So my cousin was there chilling, and my cousin basically let it happen until I put hands back on my father. So I shoved my dad, and then my cousin jumped in, and I was like, oh, now you jump in, huh? but it's interesting. Yeah, this short fuse notion.
It's the culture.
I don't get why. Yeah, and I just don't get why people fight. I don't get it at all. I never got it.
I blame Twitter because everyone's opinion now is valued.
Sure.
In a sense. So now people feel like their opinion matters more than other people's opinions based on follower count.
Yeah, well, I think more than that is there's two sides now on every topic.
Yeah.
There's no wiggle room. So if you don't argue within the two sides, you're wrong. That's kind of how it's worked.
It's super uber liberal, and then there's super conservative.
Well, you live in New York, so I'm in fucking Missouri. Most of this year, I've been in Missouri because I've been able to lock down some pretty solid shows there, and there's just a couple other reasons I want to hang out in Missouri. But shout out, but the the notion as soon as you leave New York City is that the election went correctly and that everything is right. And then it's like there's this weird point of discussion where people they'll you can't even really mention Trump on stage still. It's rough, man. I get this joke about challenging the president and I never say Trump and the room gets palpable. And it's just about how the animal kingdom is set up better because you can challenge authority. That you can fight the alpha and then become the new leader. And so one of the lines is about ripping the president's penis off, and it just gets uncomfortable in the room, and it's not. And it's not because the joke's no good, because the joke was about CEOs prior to this election. I just felt like this was a good energy to put it in, and people get uncomfortable because they think it's gonna go political, and nobody wants to have that discussion.
Yeah, I was at one of the Tall Day shows, the Culture Vulture shows, and this one comic was telling I think she was shitting on Trump, and then she said a couple lines, and then someone from the audience got really riled up.
Yeah,
and then there was an argument, and they got kicked out the show just because they took it too far in the political thing. The joke barely had anything to do about Trump.
Yeah.
But since he mentioned Trump and kind of shitted on him, that person was offended, which is weird because you're offended for somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what's happening now. This is the comedy that you're coming into, is that people get to be offended for other people. So I'm a white dude, and so I don't get to talk about fat people. I don't get to talk about women. I don't get to talk about black people. I don't get to talk about anything because they're. Basically the notion is that you're not in their shoes. You can't talk about it. Best thing to be right now is be brown or black, a woman, and gay. That's the trifecta of.
You gotta be fat.
Oh, you gotta be fat. That's the quadfecta of being able to talk about anything you want on stage. You can't be. You're a skinny dude. You can't just go up and start shitting on fat people.
Yeah.
And you're not even shitting on fat people.
I got some fat people ideas. I just can't write down.
You can't
write them down.
You can't. Well, you can't. You can't let them out. That's the problem. And I hate that this is the conversation because I don't want to sit here and tell you that you can't do shit because you should be able to figure out. And this brings me back to Andrew Schultz, who's figured out how to talk about anything.
Yeah.
And that's really the masterfulness of comedy. But what's happened so far is in New York City, there was such a bullying aspect of don't vote for Trump that now in the rest of the country, there's the opposite. There's this bullying aspect of we voted for Trump, and that's the way it is. So it's it's both ends. It's we're in this weird culture of we're all just hypocrites. That's really where we're at. Somebody who thinks they're progressive says something regressive, like if you voted for Trump, don't talk to me. And then people that are anti-bully are meanwhile bullying other people into their opinions. So it's just this weird, fucked up world. We need comedy. We need it.
Yeah, I just like I can't talk about old people on stage either.
Yeah, I remember when I was like, I was never 19 doing comedy, but I was 21 and I was doing this joke about something about my balls being old. Whatever. It's like, this fucking, when you're starting out in comedy, you're like 15 minutes of your act is about your balls for some reason.
That's most of my act right now.
Yeah. So, people would come up to me afterwards and they were like, you're very young. You know that you're very, like, because you offend people when you're like, oh, my middle-aged balls. And they're like, well, I'm 50.
Yeah.
And you're 20 and you're talking about being old.
Because, I mean, like, I have a bit that I've been trying to throw in, and it's I don't get off the seat, like, in the train for old people that dye their hair.
That dye their hair?
If they can't handle the fact that they're aging, neither can I.
Sure.
And I'm going to play a part in this, fantasy they got going on.
Right.
And then I say, I don't even know why I should be getting up for older people at all because I don't know what they did in their life. Like,
yeah.
I could have been doing volunteer work this whole day, but I have to give up my seat to someone who probably didn't want to share a class with black people.
Right.
And then people really get tight about that. And
yeah, well, because white people, when you say black people, get uncomfortable.
But also older people think I'm just being disrespectful.
Yeah, well, there's that. There's politeness for no reason. I felt that way the other day. I have a garbage back, and I can't stand up for very long. And there was all these old people around. I was at this benefit thing, and I pulled this chair out, and I wanted to offer it to this lady, but she was seemed like she was fine. So I sat down, and then I felt like a piece of shit.
Yeah, because you feel like you have to label yourself. Like you have to put a handicap sign on your shirt so people know.
Yeah.
I'm not just being an asshole. But even if I want a seat, I should be able to just grab a seat. It's first come, first serve.
Survival of the fittest, man.
Yeah.
Get there. You get the seat. You run there faster than you got it. That should be. I think, and that brings me back to the other thing. I really do think we should live, especially now. I think we should live more in that realm, survival of the fittest. But it is tough. So there's that new Denzel movie coming out, which is about a lawyer in like the 80s or 90s, and I'm not sure the exact plot of the movie, but the scene that they keep playing in the preview is he's in a room full of people. He's giving a speech. He's talking about something. I think he's trying to unite a bunch of. I think it's people of a particular group. I think it's all black people. So he's trying to have this meeting, and he says something to the effect of like, and all you brothers have to give up the seat for these sisters over here. So all these girls are standing on the corner, and the girls are like, it was like, that's sexist. And he goes, and polite. She goes, that's patronizing and sexist. I'm a feminist. And he goes, and polite. So there's just something about.
Oh, yeah. My mom hates when I say shit like. She thinks I'm misogynistic because I say, she tells me, make sure you pay for the day. And I say, I don't have to.
Yeah, there's something about manners. There is something about manners that's left over. And this is the problem that we live in. And you got to maybe live in it a little harder than I do because I've been in both worlds because I'm just, twice your age. But now there's this thing where we have to straddle. We have to straddle manners and what is right for now. Like, is it patronizing to look a certain way, view a certain way? Is it anti-feminist to, I don't know, to open a door or not open a door? We're in this fucking mixed world, and it's like half of it is just like it's polite.
Yeah.
But somehow that pisses people off. Like, oh, I can't open the door myself. My sister called this lady a ma'am. When she was working at Target once, and this fucking lady flipped out on her. You know what I mean? It's just like
I say miss. Everyone gets a miss.
Yeah, miss. Miss is important. You figured it out. That's
give
the
him
way
a miss
to go.
and a smile. And
miss?
if it's a guy, sometimes guys like being called dude. It makes them feel cooler.
Oh, really?
But some dudes, they want to be called sir.
Yeah, I think dude is important if there's any question about whether or not you have a penis. You go, he's a dude. Like, that's when you call somebody dude. But otherwise, I think it's sir. But this is starting to piss me off. I've been watching. I watch a fair amount of reality TV when I'm not, traveling 18 hours a day. But I watch a lot of these Discovery Channel shows where they come in and they fix things. So it's like a lot of people interacting for the first time and they're trying to be respectful. And there's this thing where everybody's still doing this Pharrell thing where they go yes sir, and I'm over it. I'm over yes sir, and I'm over living my best life. I'm over those two things.
Living my best life needs
It's garbage.
That one just kind of started and it needs to
Living
end.
my best life started yesterday, and I'm already over it. It's the worst thing. Because, first of all, none of you are living your best life. You're all full of shit. None of you are even close to living your best life. Dude, I'll be on the dating sites. A girl asks me how I'm doing. I'll say fantastic, and she'll be like, why? Well, the answer is because I'm living my best life, but I'm not going to write that because that's garbage, because I actually am. Nobody else is out there happy, man. Nobody's happy out here. And it's like a plague.
Because they're too worried about competition. They're worried about looking happier than the other person, which isn't happy.
Who? Which
like
person?
what you post on Snapchat is just reality TV for people who can't get
Sure.
on TV. So what you're
Everybody's
posting
on
on
TV.
Snap is what you want people to see, it like the enclosed moments of your life, which are the better moments of your life.
Well, we all got to live in this 9-to-5 world, and it's like if you figure out how to get outside of that, then that A, makes people nervous, and B, people don't know how to do that. So everybody's just waiting around for their eventual dream.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing what they want to be doing.
Oh yeah, I love seeing people post pictures of the mansion with the G-Wagons outside, but I know the person.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I don't run into that.
You
as
work
much.
at Walmart.
That's funny.
You've
Who
been
did that?
at Walmart.
Bow Wow did that. You remember when Bow Wow got caught out on that?
The fake.
Yeah, he said he posted something like that, like, "Oh, I live my best life, getting on his getting on his
people
PJ."
almost believed it.
No, this is so funny. He said getting on the PJ, and then somebody, which is a private jet, and then somebody posted the exact picture that he posted from like some private jet website, and then somebody else took a picture of Bow Wow on a fucking commercial plane in coach. At the like 5 minutes after he posted it. It was fantastic.
But people almost believed it.
Yeah.
Because he's Bow Wow. Other people have no credibility, and they're like,
no, Bow Wow's broke.
But he's Bow Wow.
But he's broke.
He's always gonna be known, whether he's famous or
Yeah.
not. He's always gonna be.
I loved Bow Wow.
known.
Bow Wow, that was my end of high school. He was still a little baby. He was a little baby Bow Wow. He was still a little Bow Wow, and he had this little walk dance. They called it the walk, and that's how I went out at prom. I was like, I did the walk. I did the Bow Wow walk. I killed it.
There's people now that I know that have no work ethic that post pictures
Yeah.
that be like, me in 10 years. And I'm like, how?
Oh, with the PJ, yeah.
I'm like, how exactly do you plan to do that?
Dude, it's tough, man, because I got work ethic, and I have no idea how I'm ever gonna get a PJ. Like that's where I'm at. I'm trying to buy a little tour bus right now, and I'm sweating about it. You know, it's like
Yeah, but
it's
like,
tough.
at
Life
least-
is tough.
But you're living how you, not exactly how you want to live,
Yeah.
but you're doing what you
Yeah. No, I'm living.
need
I'm
to
living
do
how I want to
and
live.
want to do.
Yeah, I'm living how I want to live. I just need some money to catch up with me.
Yeah, it's just some people are just not doing either. They're not living how they want to
Not
live, and they're
doing
not
shit.
trying to live how they want to live.
Not doing shit.
But they're living their best life.
Well, here's the problem. I don't think, and this is the thing. I don't know if you can take this offensively or not. I don't think we know who we are for a very long period of time.
Yeah.
Even the jokes that I wrote at 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 don't represent who I am or my beliefs today. Because
Yeah.
you just don't, you fucking have no idea. Like, you're 19 and you got a little grasp on reality, but, I mean, who you're going to be in 10 years is drastic.
Yeah, I've
from
had a
who
lot
you
of
are
bits
now.
that I throw away just because I don't feel that way.
Yeah.
Like, I had one. I was like, I don't date Latin girls because I like basketball and they like getting pregnant.
That's funny.
And then I said, I only said that because I wanted to use this one line, which is their eggs eat sperm cells like Pac-Man.
Their eggs eat sperm cells like Pac-Man. I like that.
And that's the only reason I use that joke. But now I'm just like, I don't know if I feel that.
Yeah.
But I still want to use the second part. I
Right,
need to
right,
find
right,
a way
right.
to use that.
Well, that you can do that. I mean, basically, you can. That's predicated upon stereotypes. So you can use that for almost any stereotype of a person that gets pregnant a lot. So basically, any Spanish people is pretty much fair game on that one.
Yeah. But
Or
it's like-
or it can be more specific. I mean, it can be more specific too. That's the thing. I don't know. I don't want to talk too much on joke premise with you.
but I know what you.
Because I know at 19 you just got to figure it out. And
Yeah,
any advice
much.
that anybody gives you, and I've been really careful to not try to give you any advice, but because any advice anybody gives you at 19 is like, it's A, you might think it's full of shit. B, you might not grasp the thing, and then also, no, I don't want to tilt you in a particular
Yeah.
direction.
I see that. I understand.
So I remember when people would come up to me and be like, "Oh, I like that joke. What if blah blah blah?" And I was like, "No, you're not even understanding what I'm trying to say with this joke. Like they're trying to take it another direction because one line or this and the other
Yeah.
thing." And I always hated that. So I try to avoid that,
Yeah.
especially with you and where you're at.
Yeah, and I feel like that also because I might turn into a different person. So advice might be useful now to some people, but in 4 years they might have just a totally different outlook on life.
Well,
where-
this is what. So Andrew Frank is a guy I travel the country a lot with. He's very funny. And he opened for Jesselnick when he was he I think he's only 24 now. So he opened for Jesselnick when he was like 21. And he was doing great. He just kept getting funnier and funnier and funnier and funnier every year. And I guess Jesselnick watches him and pulls him aside, and he loves Jesselnick. Now because he watched he watched him murder for a weekend at the St. Louis Funny Bone. And Jesselnick, they're like trying to have like a discussion or whatever, and then Jesselnick just basically says to him, "These jokes are great, but you're not going to be doing these jokes in 6 months." And he didn't really know what that meant. He didn't know if that should be offensive or whatever.
Yeah.
But what it did actually was just put in his head that you should just always be writing and just like always be coming out with new stuff. The good stuff is going to stay no matter what because
you're always going to be thinking about it.
well, it's a couple of things. If the joke works, you keep it. That's just comedy 101. Eventually, you're going to hate the joke because it's so reliable and it works. That's how I feel anyway about comedy. Is once it gets reliable, you're like fuck that joke and you dump it. But some people want to keep that joke forever. But the thing is, if the joke's working, it feels good when you say it and the response is crazy, and you keep it. And then if it's not that, then you get rid of it. You just keep putting putting different stuff in there because. At the end of the day, we're putting ourselves out there, and you got to be funny. You're not gonna, you can't walk down the street if you're not funny. So the whole thing is be as funny as possible, so that the cream just keeps rising to the top and the garbage boils out.
I feel like that's changing a little bit with dudes like Carmichael. I don't know if you watched Carmichael's special.
What about it?
He sits in the silence.
Sure. Well, that's a different thing, right? So. There's a confidence in saying less and having them listen more. Now he's at a completely different position than both of us. I mean, the guy's got a sitcom. He's literally financing Nate Bargatze's show. Like he's a beast. He had his first special was directed by Spike Lee. Like we don't need to be in a conversation with Carmichael because whatever he's doing it really doesn't affect what we're doing. He has already staked reputation. And so he gets to do another thing. Like, for those people, that's like walking on stage at minute 45. We're walking on at minute 1. Yeah. And we got to do all this stuff.
But he's still, like, his first special was like that, where he's
reading from his notebook. He doing all this stuff.
He doesn't care.
Yeah. Right.
And if he gets the laugh or not, it doesn't matter to him because he said what he needed to say.
Right. Well, and that's how I feel about Ben Kronberg, right? It's like there's a confidence there that he knows he's funny and that what he's doing is real. So... that's important enough. But no, dude, when you're a year in, you got to figure out what's funny.
Oh, because that's how you get other people
That's it. You just got to get funny. Like, we can have the discussion all day long, but, you got to – the job of a comedian is to be funny. That's the whole job description.
But I'll have jokes that I like, that I use, but I just don't think about.
Yeah.
Because I'll think about new jokes that kind of fit in with this new let's say 10 minutes I have.
Yeah.
And I have jokes I could put in there that I know work. I just don't think about them. But there may be a joke there that's like only one line that I want to delve into, but I keep thinking about it. Like no matter what set I'm writing, I always think about putting that one in there. Yeah,
there's the ones that stick in your head. That's the whole thing. The writing process becomes a model of how your brain works in a way. Like I used to watch, guys who would write it all out on paper, and then I'd see guys that would like come up with an idea and then try it on stage. And I think I'm somewhere between the two now. But like sometimes I'll have jokes that I think are great. I won't have the perfect experience to be able to try them right because if I'm in New York and somehow in New York a lot of the sets actually matter, maybe more than on the road. On the road it's like if you try a couple new jokes in the middle of 30 minutes, it's like whatever. You get them. They go up, you go down, you lose them, you get them back, whatever. You try to figure it out. But sometimes in New York, especially now, because I'm gone so often, I need to constantly be proving myself in this market because if I'm gone all of August, I still need to be able to come back in September and get work. So. So it's tough. It's a tough position to be in, to have to try the new stuff. But to be to be in that position and always be thinking about that is I think where you need to be.
Yeah, that's true. I've had it depends who's the size of the crowd in the venue, in my opinion. So I'll do this dorm show with my friend Eugene over in Brooklyn Heights, when I know the crowd is always going to be that kind of shitty college crowd.
Yeah.
Where they're just kind of like there for the food.
It's okay. It's free food?
Free food.
Oh,
so
no
they're there
shit.
for the food.
Yeah.
So it's like 12 people. So that's when I'll just sit down on the stool and just talk shit for like 12 minutes.
Yeah. That's important. When I first started running shows and I would host and I started cultivating an audience in Astoria, then I felt obligated to these people not to do the same material every week. So it forced me to, either talk about what's going on that day or literally come up with jokes, on the way there. Just be writing, because I got to go on stage in an hour, and these people already saw my shit and they're coming back.
That's the worst.
I think it's the greatest. I think it's the thing that it put me in a position where I built up this muscle, this crowd work muscle.
Yeah, there you go. Crowd work.
So I was like there was a point in my career where my crowd work was so superior to the written jokes that I had to sit down and really think about what to do next. Was why how can I be so funny off the cuff and off the top of my head, and the jokes are falling flat? Like, what am I what am I doing different, and why is this muscle so much stronger than this muscle?
For me, it's pretty much the opposite. It's just because I'm a reserved.
You're a shy ass dude.
I'm an awkward, shy guy. So I'm on stage and someone yells something.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little bit looser now.
Yeah, you don't know what to do.
Like, I did this show over in Nutley where it was like the crowd was just a group of people in the middle.
Yeah.
Just kind of like almost not being shitty. One of the persons.
Well, when it's
was on
one
their phone.
group, they have the benefit of the confidence of the group.
Yeah.
When it's all couples and they don't know each other, nobody wants to yell out because it's the whole room could go against it. But if you're in a big group, any show like this where it's a big group, or you go play like a private party, you can lose a crowd quick because the crowd is its own organism. They're one set of people against you. So that's a tough spot to be in. So this guy yells out.
So this lady was on her phone, and then they were talking about something. So I just kind of jumped in the middle of their conversation. Yeah. And it was working. And then we would go back and forth. And then they were like a group of bankers, right?
Yeah.
So I forget, so I just started shitting on the fact that they were there.
Yeah.
At this bar getting drunk and whatever. And then we're talking about, student loans. And I forgot that they were bankers when I first went up there.
Yeah.
Because the host was, hitting on the lady because she's the boss of all these other bankers, and she obviously has all the bread. So I was like, ma'am, I got student loans if you want to get shit popping in the back. And then I forgot that they're the enemy.
Yeah, right.
They're the ones supplying me with shit.
Oh, the
loans.
bankers? Yeah, but then back to the original thing. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're just trying to take a couple dollars in a 9-to-5 situation. Obviously, everybody's trying to figure out how to make it work, man.
But that shit worked when I said that they're the enemy. And it's I'm getting better at just not caring. I guess my problem was I cared too much.
Well, you say a thing, you're vulnerable, and then the only thing that needs to happen next is they need to laugh. And if they don't, then you could just fucking crumble.
Yeah.
Just crumble.
And it's when they try to respond, because it's in conversations. When people, through text, I'm a beast.
Okay.
I kill it through text. You want to know why? Because I'll look at the message for 5 minutes and then I'll just let it sit there.
Yeah.
And I've crafted a perfect response. It's I'll think of all the things you could say. I send out my response.
Fucking chess over here.
And fucking you reply exactly how I thought you would. And now I already have my next move.
That's funny.
It's a checkmate. And then, but in person, conversation goes dead every time.
Yeah.
Just because I'm worried about it going dead.
Right. Yeah. I mean, look, you shouldn't have to be, and that's the problem with the position you get put in with comedy, especially now. It's the more people I meet that are running shows, the more I realize that nobody gives a fuck about the actual experience that the comedian is having. They just go, "Oh, you'll figure it out. That's your job, right?" But down to the littlest details are important to make the show be good and be in the favor of the comedian, and that's really important and really necessary. Having good sound, good lighting, the right setup, so that people I was arguing with this guy the other day. I was in Florida, and it's guaranteed money, but I was trying to set up the room in a way that's gonna be beneficial for me. It was a guy opening for me, and then just me, and basically I pulled all the chairs off of the bar because everybody
Yeah.
was trying to sit at the bar. And I was like, sorry, guys, we're not seating the bar tonight. And I literally am physically moving the chairs. And then a couple people that wanted to sit at the bar because they didn't want to sit near the stage
Yeah.
left.
Hate those people.
And I was like, I don't care if they leave. I'm getting guaranteed money. And these two, if I identify that you're going to be a garbage audience member, I'm happy to have you go.
Yeah.
You're not even here for the show. She's like, well, the owner invited us in, whatever. So the owner was just like trying to rally up. He had 2 rooms, and he was trying to rally
Yeah.
up the people in the other room to get in because I think he felt obligated to me to, to make the show good, whatever.
Yeah.
So then he comes up to me and he's like, hey man, why are you kicking these people out? They said that you were rude and you're not letting them sit at the bar. And I go, yeah, I simply told them that we're not seating the bar right now because this room is impossible, and having them sit at the bar, facing the bar, talking to the bar with
Yeah.
their back to me serves me no purpose, and we shouldn't have to perform in that environment. And we
People
do a lot.
Want the worst seats in the show. I don't understand that.
Yeah, no, everybody's afraid to sit in the front, right? And then
Then they want like the worst view of the stage as well.
This is when I realized the reality of seating. Nate Bargatze, who we can all agree is an incredible comic, one of the funniest people. The guy's got 2 or 3 Comedy Central specials. He's on 5 different Netflix shows that are featuring stand-up comedians. He's one of 3 people that has carte blanche to go on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
He literally can call and be like, look, I got a new set, I want to debut it, and they say, great, come next week. He's one of 3. It's him, Brian Regan, and Jerry Seinfeld. Those are the only 3 guys that can call Fallon and be like, I want to come on whenever I want. Okay, so undeniably funny. He has a sitcom coming out.
Oh, cool.
I have him on an outdoor show
Mm-hmm.
on 52nd Street in this little park. I tried to control them best I could. We ended up with too many chairs, so we ended up with some chairs that we end up seating for like 100 when probably 30 or 40 people came out because it's kind of a day show. It was kind of a bad idea. So people are sitting way far back and nowhere near him, and the fucking sound is bouncing off the buildings and this and that.
Yeah.
And Nate's up there doing Nate, and there's 2 people in the back row, and I can see them basically like being bored, like a bird lands, they look at the bird, and I can see them gathering the opinion that this guy's no good at comedy, and they're like, no, this fucking dude is going to be one of the greatest comedians of all time, and you're not giving him any respect because you're garbage, and you're not. And so it's like, as soon as you have no attention span for comedy, you as the audience member, you just go, well, this guy's no good. You're like, yeah, he's no good because you weren't listening. The guy's actually brilliant, and you're a piece of garbage. But so that's the problem that we bump into with comedy all the time, is that we get judged every 10 or 15 seconds, and half the time.
Yeah, it's because that's how long they're paying attention for.
And if the circumstances aren't right, it's like,
I know if I watch a video of someone performing, I'm less likely to laugh than I go to a live show, I'm laughing at almost
you're in there.
bit.
Yeah, dude, I was trying to watch Patton Oswalt's special on Netflix. I can't even handle it anymore. I'm in a weird place in my life. I was playing on my phone the whole time, and I was like, I didn't, I wasn't even engaged. Of course, I'm not gonna.
I've only had like Jerry Seinfeld special. I was pausing back and forth.
Yeah.
The only one that I sat through was the Michael Che one,
Yeah.
the Carmichael one, and all the Chappelle ones.
Yeah. So we know. So we see where your background is. We see you give no respect to white comics and give all the respect to black.
I mean,
no,
Louis
I feel
C.K.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I have to sit through his, but his new special is just because it came to me at a time where now my phone is just
Well, what
my
was
brain.
interesting with the new special was he, in the first 7 minutes, he hits on
Yeah.
3 huge topics that
Yeah.
me and Andrew had been talking about in the car, trying to figure out how to make funny. Suicide, fuck, I forgot what the 3 were, but it was
abortion.
it was suicide, abortion, and one more thing.
Was it? No, he not in the beginning. He didn't talk about being gay.
And he just bang, 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 right in a row. And we were like, God damn it. Because our contention, me and Andrew, and it was almost verbatim what he ended up saying, which was if you want to die, you should die. Like, that's kind of how we took it. And his one of his lines was that, like, life isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
And he proves it in the jokes or whatever. And so for us, that was a really poignant particular moment. But then I see people reviewing it, and they're like, well, you can't talk about that. You can't talk about suicide. And that's where we're at now, is people are telling Louis C.K. what he can and cannot talk about, which is ridiculous.
Why? Why can't I talk? What if that's on my mind? Why can't I get off what's on my head?
Right.
I had what was it?
And if it's in your head, here's the thing. If it's in your head, if it's in my head, if it's in Louis C.K.'s head, then it's something that's happening in society. Like, this is not coming from nowhere. Like, we do this thing where we say, oh, there's a creative mind, this and that. No. It's just, it's out there. Like, my mind can only be as creative as the experiences I have around me. So knowing that people don't handle death correctly is an experience I have on a daily basis.
Yeah, and it's I don't understand. It's like they want people to share what they're like.
Yeah.
They talk about depression and stuff.
Yeah.
And what if that's depressing? Like, if I make a joke out of it, what's so bad about that? If
Right.
I'm making it easier to talk about.
Right. Well, that's how I feel now. That's why I try really hard every night I'm trying to get this Alzheimer's joke to work because and I got this joke now about Tess getting run over by an ambulance. These are the big things in my life that are affecting me emotionally. My grandfather's got Alzheimer's. My dog almost died from getting run over by an ambulance. So, like, you watch my hour set, and you learn a lot about me. But more than that, it's like that's the catharsis that I have. And if I had experiences like this, then I know there's other people that are having the same experiences, and we need to fucking laugh at these things, or we're gonna
sad fucking song, and everyone's like, "Oh, it's so beautiful."
Yeah.
He just made me feel worse about its topic.
Right.
Like, why is that better than me making you laugh about
Right.
rape?
Yeah. And it's interesting is that our thing gets less
There's no respect.
leeway. Less respect, less leeway. Like, if you there's plenty of movies where they delve deep into rape and they'll have rape scenes and
that's uncomfortable.
And the
for
movie
me.
will get an R rating or an
yeah.
NC-17 rating because of such a graphic, violent rape scene. But whereas comedians want to joke about rape and I was looking up some Patrice clips. So this is a 10-year thing where media and people and civilians are trying to tell us what we can and cannot joke about. Meanwhile, every other piece of art, every other form of art, is allowed to delve into everything. I mean, there was a movie about snuff films. A couple years ago called 8mm, and that movie got millions of dollars to be made about porn that kills a person at the end. So it's like every other art form gets this opportunity, and so quickly are we pointing fingers at comedians telling them what they can and cannot talk about. It's a fucked.
Yeah, and it's Requiem for a Dream makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, sure.
Like, why is that allowed?
Yeah, Requiem for a Dream is interesting because people were like, go see Requiem for a Dream. I've never felt more depressed in my life. And you're like, what?
Why?
Look at the sentence you just said to me.
Why would I
want to do that? Are you kidding?
Like, what's his name? Harmony Korine, the guy who made Kids?
Yeah.
Every one of his weird experimental films makes me uncomfortable. But he's artsy. But if you see a dude like Ben Kronberg get up and do something kind of artsy and weird, people are like, oh, because it's him. It's like actually him in front of them as opposed to another medium sitting in between them.
Yeah. Well, and it is. I'm in a weird position in my life where I see something like that. I see something that's supposed to be disturbing, and I gain a lot from it, and I gather a lot from it, and sometimes it's fun or funny to me. I'm in a very weird place.
Oh no, I can't. I saw a dude just kind of kick a cat over a fence, like kind of like punt it.
In real life?
In real life. I saw no, like on a video, but he actually kicked the cat.
Yeah.
And he made the cat like raise, and then he punts it over the fence, and I was like, "That's disgusting." And then I turn on like, "You Don't Mess with the Zohan," and they're playing hacky sack with the cat. And I'm like, "This is fucking hilarious."
Yeah.
But is
the scope? Yeah, the scope. Just change the scope just a little bit, and it changes it. Yeah. Or this was an old thing. Like, put a laugh track on it. Put cartoon music, ba 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 ba, and then you kick the cat, and all of a sudden it's funny. That's what's crazy.
This video about it's a commercial where a car flips over and it crushes all these kids.
Yeah.
And they take that and then add a squish sound when the kids are being
really
crushed. And so it was like,
oh, this is so this was my buddy's project in college, was take a movie that has a particular like feeling or emotion towards it, and then change it by changing the preview, changing the music. So he did Forrest Gump, and he took scenes from the movie and he cut it together so that Forrest Gump looked like a crazy serial killer, like schizophrenic, bipolar serial killer, and it's brilliant. And it was a really fun little project. And that's That's all art is taking the thing and trying to reposition it so that what is otherwise tragic, what is otherwise horrible, what is otherwise disconcerting can now become funny. And that's the hardest part. That's our whole thing. That's our whole job.
Like I was thinking about a bit. I want to talk about like social anxiety.
Yeah.
How I find it a way bigger fear than terrorism.
Sure.
So I applied for this job at the World Trade, and then the bit was supposed to be like, I didn't get the job, but I wrote the bit. Like as soon as I applied, I was like, I'm gonna write this bit.
Yeah.
So I was like, I work at the World Trade, and thousands of people come in every day, and it's very frightening to think that one day
I'm going to have to talk to one of these people.
I'd have to talk to one of these people.
So with something like that, and this is the thing that you eventually have to figure, it's like you need to give so much information at the beginning, right? So you set it up to me that this is about social anxiety, right? Yeah. So that joke is predicated upon all that knowledge that they need to have. So you need to basically almost do a speech about how shy you are.
Do like 7 minutes of material
about how shy you are, this and that. Yeah, just to do the one thing. That's really funny. But that is funny. And this is where I'm at mentally is that the chances that the World Trade Towers get hit again, probability-wise, is basically zero. Right? Like the best day to fly is the day after a plane crash. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like that lotto, it's like the lotto jackpot. It's like
sequels are never great, and terrorists know that.
Well, not even that. It's just the fact that like the chances that happened are like a plane crash, very, very slim. Yeah. The day after a plane crash, there's no way they're going to let another plane crash. You know what I mean? So from a probability standpoint, that is the day. That I keep hearing this commercial where this lady tries to she calls this it's this horrible commercial I keep hearing on Pandora. This lady calls in the security line, and she's like, "We were just broken into. We need a security system." Bitch, no, you don't. You needed a security system yesterday. This shit is over. You're never getting broken into again.
Oh, yeah.
They're not going
to take the risk twice.
Right. Nobody's going to break in with you. But the person who got all your shit, they're not going to come back. And then the next person that comes, who cares? They just took all your shit anyway. What do you need a security system today for?
What you need is the insurance to get involved.
Right. Well, you should have got that shit yesterday. And what do you call on the line? And then they're like, "Oh, sorry, you have the wrong number. But they'll connect you." And they made it seem like the security company was a piece of shit because they were like, "You called the wrong number, bitch. You called the wrong number. We don't sell security systems. Fuck out of here."
That's an entire commercial.
It's a horrible commercial. It really upsets me. All right, listen. This has been fun. I probably talked more than I should have, which you being shy actually works out fine.
That's cool.
So how do they follow you? Everything's Ryan Roman 89?
98.
98. I keep getting this
Roman,
backwards.
98. Instagram, Twitter.
I think in my head, I can't wrap my head around the fact that you were born in 1998. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, I spent a year in the 90s.
Yeah, that's crazy that you were born in 1998. And that we're peers now is crazy to me. And only in this thing can that be true. You're a peer. Artie Lang's a peer. Like this, what a drastic spectrum of difference that these people can be.
It's like teachers.
It's crazy. So Ryan Roman 98.
Yeah, Instagram,
on
Twitter,
Instagram,
Facebook page is just Ryan.
Just
Roman.
Regular Ryan Roman. I think there's a bunch of Ryan Roman, so it's the one that says self-employed, which is easy for him to say since he still lives with his mom. So it's easy to be self-employed when you ain't got any fucking bills. But really funny dude, crushed it at the Hoboken Comedy Festival. Working hard, never asks for anything. So hit him up, appreciate him. Check out his shows. Anything to plug? I figure this will come out in 2 or 3 weeks. Anything to plug coming up? Are you in anything?
I'm doing a show, and I don't have any the exact details. So.
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna be at Penn State.
Just heads up for him.
February.
Check out his webpage. Check out his Twitter.
RyanRoman.com. I got that up and running.
Take some time. Go see this dude do comedy. Thank you for being here on the Comedy's Best Kept Secret Tour podcast. Guys, we're on iTunes. We're on Google Play. We're on YouTube now. Wherever you found us, we're also on the other thing. We're going to try our best to do some good content. On some Dan Frigolette news, I will be at Exotica this weekend and the Ink Awards, interviewing some porn stars. For the Porn Stars Are People podcast. That's my other podcast. If you haven't heard it, go check it out. It's basically me talking too much, but porn stars are in the room. So it's the same podcast except there's porn stars in the room instead of comedians in the room, and I need to shut the fuck up. Anyway, check it out. Appreciate you for listening. Thank you for being here. Be safe, everyone.